Despite efforts to control and reduce additional variables that could have influenced the results of the study, there were several limitations that may have affected outcomes. The most significant limitation was the size and narrow span of demographics of the sample population involved. The study was limited to 20 total students, all from the second grade at the same elementary school. The lack of variance in grade representation, as well as the small number of students sampled, made it harder to generalize the results as being applicable to all elementary students. In addition, the lack of demographic variances made it difficult to generalize the validity for all students globally. To increase the confidence in the results, it would be suggested to use larger sample size across multiple grades and potentially from several different school districts. Another limitation related to the sample population was the language background of those involved. Almost half of the students who participated received ELL services. It was unknown how a limited fluency in the language that assessment was given in affected fluency in reading specifically. In future studies, specific analysis of the results based on whether a student receives ELL services or not, and whether there is a difference in scores between the individuals may be considered. Title I groups are just one of many classes that the students participated in throughout the school day. The instructional mindset and methods in their other classes was varied, and it is unknown how this could have influenced the students' reading fluency. This unknown effect was a constraint of the current study. A recommendation would be growth mindset professional development for all educators who were involved with the experimental group. Having an educator in contact with the experimental participants trained in the engagement and growth mindset would have provided consistency and allowed for more accurate observation of specific strategies and their effort. Another question was whether the students in the experimental group did indeed have a mindset shift from the beginning to the end of the year due to the growth mindset instruction. Were scores improved only if a student embraced the growth mindset concept, or improvement due to the methods and or materials, regardless of the student's mindset over time? To answer this, it would have been helpful to complete questionnaires assessing the students' mindsets for both groups over time. This additional data could have provided qualitative analysis of whether the experimental group versus the control group did indeed experience a mindset change. The measures that were used to interpret results should also be taken into account. This study looked at data from standardized FAST reading test scores only. Using a single assessment method was a limitation of the study. Not all students test in the same way, and use only one kind of measure could have skewed the interpretation of the student's reading fluency. It could be argued that as long as one is using the same test at each point of measure, this should control itself. However, to improve the study, it could have been beneficial to interpret data from multiple assessments, which would have increased the number of data points used for analysis. A higher number of data points would have improved the statistical significance of the results. This concludes my presentation. Here are my references, and I look forward to your comments and questions.